Hey guys, so today in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make a duct tape bifold wallet. On the outside there will be no fold-over lines, a billfold to put your money in, and it will have 5 card pockets, a side ID, 2 hiddens, and it will be nice and thin. So let's go ahead and get started. So for the supplies, you're going to need a cutting mat. You're going to want 3 rolls of duct tape and some clear tape, because those are always really helpful. You're going to need a ruler. I use 2 of them. Going to need an X-Acto knife. I also use 2 of those because, I don't know, why not? You're going to need a pair of scissors, a card maybe to clear tape with, and you're also going to need a piece of ID plastic that's 2 1/4 inches tall by 3 3/4 inches long. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to make are the card pockets. So cut out 5 pieces of tape in your pocket color that are 3 3/4 inches long and cut one of those into fourths. Next, take a half piece, a full piece, and a piece of clear tape the same length, 3 3/4. Then you're going to take the full piece and overlap it onto the half piece just slightly so there's an overlap, but it's not too thin and it's not too thick. And then you're going to take the piece of clear tape and cover only the pocket part, not the extra half piece that we just placed on there. Like so. And we do this so that when you put the card in, it doesn't catch. Then you're just going to repeat that 3 more times. Then cut out 2 more pieces of tape that are 3 3/4 inches long and a piece of clear tape the same length. Stack the 2 pieces of duct tape to make a 2 1/4 inch sheet, and then flip it directly over and then place the clear tape on that. And this is to make the pocket above the ID. So, yep. And once you're done, you should still have some sticky at the bottom, like so. Next, cut out a 12-inch piece of duct tape in your trim color, and you're going to cut it in half horizontally down the middle. It doesn't have to be straight, so yeah, it doesn't really matter. And then you're going to cut every 4 inches, so 1 at the 4-inch mark and 1 at the 8-inch mark, and these will be for your trim. Now to trim the actual card pocket, take one of the half pieces, and I like to take the straight side and place it facing the left as if I were trimming the actual card pocket. That's just to help me remember where the straight side is. And then take the card pocket and line it up on the first set of dots, which is the 1/4 inch mark line, and then just stick it down with this sticky at the bottom of the card pocket. And then take your ruler, line it up with the line, and then take your piece of tape and just place it right next to the ruler, and this will give you 1/4 inch trim. Obviously, if you slant the ruler towards one side, it will be a little bit crooked, but just kind of double check before you place the tape on. And then I just like to smooth it out, see if I like it, and I do. So then I flip it over, fold over the excess sticky, and then anything that's hanging off the sides, I just trim down and throw it away because you don't need it. And yeah, so that's basically how I trim my card pockets. Then you'll just want to repeat that for the other 3. Next, take 3 pieces of clear tape that are 4 inches long and cut them in half horizontally. Now you're going to take one of those half pieces of clear tape and place it below the actual trim itself, and this is to assure that no dirt or anything will get caught in it. And then you're just going to take a card or something to smooth the clear tape out with so that there's no air bubbles and so it doesn't look weird. And then you're going to take the extra clear tape, fold it over, and then trim away the unneeded tape that's left over. Then you'll just want to repeat that for the other 3. Now take your ID, which should be 2 1/4 inches tall by 3 3/4 inches long, and then you're going to take one of your trim pieces of tape, put a 1/4 inch trim on it, trim away the extra tape, but keep the scraps because they will be handy for later on, and then trim down the tape so when you fold it over, it doesn't show on the other side of the ID. Now you're going to want to clear tape that trim so that the ID side doesn't get dirt in it either, because that's really nasty, and it also makes it last longer and more durable, as I've said in previous videos and as I will continuously repeat myself. And then you're going to trim off the extra tape and then cut it down so when you fold it over you can't see it through on the other side. Now we're going to trim the longer side of the ID, so you're going to don't place it all the way at the bottom of the ID. As you see here, I leave a little bit of space at the bottom so it gives more tape at the top. and you'll see why in a moment. With the extra sticky at the top, you're just going to fold it into a triangle like so, and that's how you get the triangle cut. And then you're going to take your ID pocket that we made earlier, and you're going to fold the extra sticky onto it so that it creates the side ID, and it will also have a pocket at the top. So then just trim away any extra unneeded tape or any pieces of the card pocket, and then you're also going to want to clear tape this trim. And if any of this doesn't make any sense, I actually have a separate tutorial on how to make this and this part only, the ID with the triangle cut. I will leave a link in the description box down below in case you are confused, and you can reference that if you need a little bit slower, if you need to be explained it a little bit slower. And then just cut away any extra clear tape, and then fold it back up, and then just make a slit so you can fold the clear tape onto the ID and the triangle. Next, cut out 2 pieces of 7.5 inch tape in your main color, stack them on top of each other to create a 3 3/4 inch tall duct tape sheet, and then you're going to flip it over and cover the back with clear tape, except instead of covering it all the way so that it's 3 3/4, you're going to only make it so that the back, which is the clear tape, is 3 1/4 inches tall. So you just see me doing that here, and you're basically right now you're making the hiddens, and so what you'll be left with is a sheet, and it will have sticky at the top, and you can trim the sides down. Next, you just want to cut it in half, and you will be left with 2 3 3/4 inch sheets of duct tape, like so. Now we are attaching the card pockets to the hiddens. This is honestly personal preference. It depends on how much space you want, but I generally place the first one a little bit above the 2.5 inch mark line, the second one at a little bit above the 2 1/4 inch mark line, and the last one is just about at 2 inches. And I duplicate it on the other side with the card pocket and the ID piece like it is shown here. Next, take a piece of clear tape 3 3/4 inches long and cut it into fifths. Then you're just going to take those little pieces of clear tape and stick them at the bottom of each card pocket. This is to assure that the cards that you place inside of your wallet do not get stuck at the bottom, because it's really annoying, and it just is another way to collect dirt and dust and such, and nothing that you want. So just do it. It's really simple, and I promise it's worth it, and it makes your wallets more high quality, and it just makes them more durable. It adds a little bit more stability to the card pocket. And so now you're just going to fold them up, and then take one of those little scraps that I told you to keep earlier, and I just like to cut it in half and keep it held down so that I can do what else I need to do. Next, take a piece of 3 3/4 inch tape in your main color and cut it in half. Then you're just going to take those little half pieces and align the sides of your hiddens to attach all of the card pockets to the hiddens. And I do this with a ruler just to make sure it's nice and straight. So cut off the extra tape and then cut a triangle where the clear tape ends on the inside of the hidden. So yeah, and then just fold it in and then cut away the extra tape. And then you have nice straight trim. And then you're just going to do the same exact thing to the other hidden, except it is a little bit different. It's actually kind of harder to do this one because I'm right-handed, and trying to place the tape with my left hand is a little bit more difficult, but it's not that much of the big deal. So you're just going to do the same thing, cut off the extra tape, cut a little slit that's angled as a triangle, cut off the extra tape, and then once you flip it over, you'll notice that the ID is sealed off. So just make a little slit above that, peel it up, and then fold it in so that you can still access your side ID, like so. Then take a 3 3/4 inch piece of clear tape and cut that in half. Then take one of those little half pieces and you're going to place it over the trim that we just placed on the side. I know it's a lot of trimming and clear taping and such, and it's not that fun, but I promise it's worth it. It will make your wallet the most high quality it can be, and it just really helps it out with stability and durability and such. And then you're just going to cut the remaining sticky and fold it over again and do the same thing. Then I'm just doing this same thing to the other hidden. I'm just going to smooth it out on the top half as I do here. And then After that, I'm going to cut a slit above the ID to fold the clear tape into, just like I did for the other piece. And this is just to make it so that it is still accessible. So I'm just clear taping that. And you're going to want to do the same thing. So, yeah. You can follow along, I guess. And then just trim any excess away. And then you have both of them. So now you're going to want to take 2 pieces of 8 1/4 inch duct tape and stack it so that it is 3 1/4 inches tall, and then cover the entire back with clear tape. Once you're done covering the back with clear tape, take a 3 3/4 inch piece of tape in your card pocket color and then place it on, and then make sure that when you put it on, the sticky, when it's folded over, faces down along with the seam in the billfold, like that. Now we're just going to attach the hiddens to the billfold itself. So flip the card pockets over and you're going to place it to the left of the bifold. And all you do is take this sticky and fold it onto the sheet that we just finished making, like so. And then you're going to do the same thing for the sheet with the ID on it, like this. So yeah, just folding it over. And then once you're done doing that, you can trim it down if you want to. It's completely optional. Then take 2 more 8 1/4 inch pieces of tape and make a sheet that is 3 3/4 inches tall, and then take your ruler and cut it down so it's 3 1/2 and keep that extra piece. Now we're covering the outside, so I like to leave a lot of sticky on the sides. If you guys want to know exactly what I put on the sides, then I'll tell you. I leave 3/4 of an inch on the bottom, about 2 to 3 inches on the sides, and then about 1/2 of an inch at the top. But you can always trim it down and just do anything that you want, really, to make it the size you want it to be. This part right here is actually optional. You don't have to clear tape the seam, but I really recommend it. Okay, so now that you're done with your outer billfold, just peel it up and then cut down the shorter side to the length that you want it to be. So for my situation, I chose 5/8 of an inch, and then you can just set that piece of tape to the side and then cut 2 slits straight up so that you can fold it into the billfold, like so. Then you're going to make 2 identical slits and then take the inside of your bifold wallet and align it with the bottom of the outside sheet that we are attaching right now. And then you're going to trim down the tape that we just folded over. And if you have a nice blade in your knife, then it should cut fairly easily. And then you're going to take that piece of tape that we cut from the billfold earlier, and you're going to use it to align the sticky at the bottom of the wallet. And then you can take a full or half piece of clear tape to clear tape the seam so that the wallet doesn't get dirty on the inside, and so that your bills don't get stuck or anything like that. And then you're just going to take the sides and peel them up and fold them up and onto the wallet. And then you're also going to trim them down to the desired length that you want it to be. I usually use 5/8 of an inch, which is 1/8 over 1/4 of an inch. That's just the length that I like to use, but you can use whatever one that you want. And then if you have any strings, you could cut them off or fold them back underneath the tape. And then the little tabs at the bottom, you can trim them away. And then the tabs at the top, you're going to cut them down slightly so we can fold them in and create a rounded edge at the top of our billfold. So you're just going to fold it in at a diagonal like so. And then you're going to repeat that to the other side as I'm doing here. And then you're just going to want to peel up the tape that we used to secure the card pockets down. And then you're just going to cut slits for your cards to slide into your card pockets. If you want to learn how to do the other ones, I have a tutorial on my channel. I will link it in the description box down below for your reference. And then just cut it at a diagonal for the ID, and then cut slits for your hiddens, and then you're done with your duct tape bifold wallet. So here's my finished product. It is houndstooth on the outside with no fold over lines, and the seam is clear taped. It has an electric blue billfold, which is duct taped and clear taped at the bottom, and it has 5 card pockets, the side ID, and 2 hiddens. All of the trims are clear taped, no sticky at the bottom of the pockets. The sides are clear taped, and it is very nice and super thin. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and tell me what you thought in the comment section down below. And that's it. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye!